And see, take a struggle. It's to make it easy. That's why I told you to come in, and now you're confusing me even
We
further.
picked the same people, you know. I feel Lucy and
Lucy and Buki. Did I pick Buki? Okay, yes, I did. Soul Sisters. Where is Soul Sisters?
Whose world is it? This is a woman's world. Let's talk about the woman.
Women make up more than half of the world's population and
Already?
potential.
Every woman has got a story to tell.
When I was
Go to
just
YouTube now.
11
Ask me,
years
Mr.
old,
Shelley. Go to
I
YouTube,
became
please.
a female advocate to make a difference in as many children's lives as I could.
Soul Sisters, a discourse on the woman on
All right, we're coming in. You can use the headsets.
98.1.
Many things. Yes, it's now time for Soul Sisters here on Smooth 98.1, and I am itching to get into this conversation, but I know that the mothers are probably rolling their eyes and say, can you already just tell us the winners and let us get our gift? Do not worry. Thank you all. First, I must appreciate all of you that called. Thank you so much from Mrs. Adieko, Mrs. Sholusi, Tofumi, Precious, so many of you. I really appreciate your participation. Unfortunately, we can only take 2 winners, and for this morning, our winners are, drumroll, 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 we have Lucy and Bookie. So thank you so much for calling. Now I need you to send your details to WhatsApp 0809 444 0981. Again, 0809 444 0981. Just send your name and any other detail that we should have, especially your phone number, and we'll let you know how you can pick up your gift. Thank you. Now we move into the conversation here on Soul Sisters. About 2 weeks back, we had that intense conversation on abusive relationships. I had a therapist, a counselor, a trauma therapist, not just any therapist, and also a counselor. And then I also had a legal practitioner and the founder of Nurses Help Initiative, a a person who's been in this field for about 20 years, relating and talking with people who have been in this. And I thought, no, we can't just do this for for 45 minutes. It was not enough. So we had to have the second part of the conversation. And guess what? There is no Zoom today, no network interruption. It's going to be smooth all through. So, first off, please join me as I make welcome the counselor and trauma therapist, Olabisi Osidame. Good morning.
Good morning, Sharon. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for being here in the studio live.
Thank you.
And then, of course, please make welcome my very special guest, Barrister Olumide Omoshebi. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, at some point, I was wondering if both of you will be able to make it into the studio considering your schedule, but
Yeah.
I just took that leap, and here we are. All right, so we can as well just go back to it. But before we talk about how to leave abusive relationship, that's the topic for this morning. Let's just have a little bit of refresher because we're not able to fully drill down into some of the reasons why people stay and remain in abusive relationships. But there was something I was thinking about, so we'll start with this. Are there some behaviors that the society that are actually inherently abusive, but the society has normalized, and that's probably one of the reasons why those people remain in this abusive relationships? Now, if you think there are some of those behaviors, what do you think they are? Okay, ladies first.
All right. Thank you, Sharon. Okay, so one of it is, abuse is when one person has financial control over another. I think in this part of the world, it's seen as love when a man tells his wife, or his partner, you don't need to work, I'll take care of all your bills. You just hang in there, enjoy life. And we all know that, yes, as sweet and nice as that is, financial, independence is key for every single person. The moment you depend on someone for everything, basically, because finance is key to everything, and then that means whatever happens, if the person is out of the picture, you're on your own. Whenever you do not do the things this person wants, then it's a problem. Traditional system also are of the opinion, that the women should submit to, their husbands or their partners. Submission has been defined in different ways by different religions, if you know what I mean. So every culture describes submission in different ways. Could be he can talk to you anyhow, he can have control as to who you can see and who you should not see, and that's where isolation sometimes comes in to the picture. It could be you can't make any decision without me, which means he gets to have the final say over some decisions that even pertain to you as a person. So you can see that, our system, that's two. And then the third one is the truth is the community, the legal system, they are aware there is abuse. But the thing also is quite often than not, it's not addressed. So even those who are abused are aware that if I talk about this, I'm going to be the one who is stigmatized. I'm the one who will be left out in the cold with no support system, as it were. I mean, there's a level the advocates programs can support you to, but again, if you do not have a support system which you've been isolated from, if you do not have financial independence, then you're literally on your own, and maybe with children as well. So our system hasn't been set up in a way generally overall, and I'm pretty sure Mr. Moshebi here will explain for that, to allow women, and even men, come out of relationships that do not befit them.
Yeah. How about you, Barrister Moshebi?
Well, what I would start with the first thing you said about financial. It's called financial abuse when a spouse takes over your finances. We have cases where there was a senior colleague of mine, a lawyer, whose salary was being paid into her husband's account. Her husband's account was her salary account. So the husband decides, at least that one is even allowed to work. There are some that will just tell you that, listen, go home, stay home with the children. But you see, what people don't realize is that it is actually a crime. It is against the law. There is a law against stopping people from working. It's the Violence Against Persons Prohibitions Act, Section 12, subsection 1. Let me read that. The person who causes forced financial dependence or economic abuse of another commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 2 years or a fine not exceeding 500,000 or both. So people don't know, first of all, when you stop someone who is capable, who went to school, where I have someone who is a first-class student, the first-class graduate, and her husband just told her one time that, what, you're pregnant, I want you to stop work and stay home. Why do if you want someone who did not, if you want someone who will stay at home, then why don't you go for an illiterate, someone who did not go from the get-go, but someone who is capable? Now, that person, the government is even losing tax on that person. So it is a law. It is a crime for you to stop. And these are issues that are often overlooked. You just say, but he's taking care of you. No, not when you can take care of yourself. Now, this is what happens. Suddenly that man loses his job. And now there's no family, no food. During COVID, 4,000 people lost their jobs in the financial sector. Can you imagine? Now you stopped her from working, you have lost your job. There was a gentleman in my area, he lost his job during COVID. He couldn't stay at home, so every morning he would still wear his suit and go out as if he's going to work. He did that for 3 months until, his reserves, his savings, were exhausted, and he had to now find a way to, he started doing menial jobs. But you stopped this lady from working. Why?
I hate to interrupt, but we need to quickly go on this break. When we come back, I actually want to ask you both, what is your thought on joint account? Yeah, because we cannot talk about how you can leave abusive relationship if you have no financial footing whatsoever. You're listening to Soul Sisters here on Smooth 98.1.
Smooth 98.1. Absolutely no one.
Ad break for 2 minutes and we'll be back.
Love life.
Nobody does it better. Yeah.
You summon the oracle now. Greetings, my king. How can the oracle?
I don't know if you saw something. So there was a post by a lady about last week, I think, who the boyfriend or maybe the fiance gave her tons of gifts that totaled 10 million naira or naira with the lavish money and all that.
Dollars as well.
And I was searching for the answer. I didn't find it. What did he do that warranted that kind of gift?
What did he or she
What did he do? He's apologizing. So those were sorry. Yeah, those were apology gifts.
I got it. I got it. Calm down.
There's,
What did you
something
get?
like
For the
this. I was
job.
on
And guess
mainland
what?
FM.
The salary
A girl
is even
sent
more than we thought.
a message that
Now I can take you
you know,
to all
anytime
those
her
fancy
boyfriend
places you've
hits,
always wanted to
you
go.
know, he always
I'm thinking to start with Dubai this
100,000.
summer.
So she was in the
I
relationship
would
to
love
raise
that. But,
Funds.
darling,
money.
wait
So
till
the
I
last
hope this new
one
job
that
gives you
he
an
beat
extra
her
health
paid her
cover, just as you have on your current
250
job. Sure
because she was
thing.
hospitalized.
That
And
would
it was in
definitely
the
have been
hospital.
the
She
deal
just
breaker.
realized
That
that
comprehensive health cover from AXA Mansa
She could have
is
died.
second to
I could have
none.
died.
Yeah.
Because
Very
she was
important
running, he
indeed. I
pushed her
trust you, darling.
while she was trying to run
I
through.
trust
So she fell
AXA
and hit
Mansa
her head on the door.
HMO. Sign up now to
no,
AXA
helmet,
Mansa HMO
what
cover
do you
to
call it?
enjoy access to over
frame?
1,500 health
So she
providers,
passed out. So
hospitals,
she woke up and
dentists, eye clinics, and
was,
so on
the
nationwide.
second day she
Telemedicine
got to
services,
ambulance of
laboratory home service,
250,000.
fitness
I
services,
said,
and
I'm
much
sorry.
more. Simply dial
So
0700 AXA Mansa to get
She
started.
now said, I just
AXA,
realized my life
know
is
you can.
more important than I could have died. So she had saved 630,000 naira from my
Hey, gosh.
I was not
It's
looking
dark.
for business and we should advise her on I couldn't even talk.
There are people that have a relationship.
So
Just like some people are tired of being in the relationship, but they can't leave because they don't have money. They can barely survive.
the beginning of problem, like you cannot be jobless.
Yeah.
Okay, we're coming.
Married.
Lasts.
Yeah.
Smooth.
Than a fresh jar of sipping.
Smooth 98.1, your love music, love life station. This is Soul Sisters. We're talking about how to leave abusive relationship. You can actually stream live right now, youtube.com/smooth 981 FM Lagos. Again, youtube.com/smooth 981 FM Lagos. And I'll give you another reason why you should go to YouTube, because we're having some behind the scenes conversation that are not on air. And you know how the bottom pot is usually sweeter than the main rice. That's why you should go there. So share the link with somebody, because this talk peak is very vital and we need to talk about it. Now, before the break, Barrister Moshibi was talking about financial dependency and, forced financial dependency. And we talked about finances. And I just want to know, joint accounts. What are your first? I'll start with therapist Olabisi. What's your take on it? Should it be a thing?
Oh yeah. You know how it is when you always have a pro and con for every
Yeah.
single issue. That's what it is really. Because with joint accounts, in a trusting and healthy relationship, it is beneficial. Because then we could have joint projects that we need to execute. Pay mortgage, buy a car, build a house, or pay for maybe school fees, further education or relocation, as we see now. But also in a relationship where from the get-go things are not as it seems, or there are certain unhealthy elements to the relationship, we all know that it's an issue, because when everything begins to unravel and then you are deciding that I cannot continue in this relationship, two things can happen. The accounts can be wiped out by the other party, or even before that happens, something happens to the money. There's somebody who has no financial control, who cannot regulate, who indulges in maybe some very interesting activities like gambling, and we've seen that happen over and over again. I think that to every joint account, if you ask me, is either party cannot withdraw without both signatures, or both, there's a confirmation from the bank for both signatories to the account. That way, yes, that can work. But also, it has a very, shaky side to it because, again, we're talking about abusive relationships. And the truth is, sometimes a woman or a man in an abusive relationship can lose confidence, lose reasoning in a relationship, and just give veto power to the other party to withdraw. The truth remains that the moment a party in a relationship begins to think, you know what, I'm beginning to have second thoughts about this relationship, is the time when such a person should begin to put some money aside. You can have a joint account, but you should also have a personal account where, just in case something happens, just in case you need to make the decision of stepping out of the relationship, you can actually find your footing.
I see Barry's telling me they're smiling already.
I was just imagining joint my summation on joint accounts is that it does not mean it would make your marriage work. It will make it not work. It is just an accessory. So if you choose, for example, the abusive partner would always get the say in any accounts. They control both theirs and yours. So I think that it has really no bearing on whether the
You have a
marriage
joint account
will
or not.
be. So I never really think about it. But however, in a healthy marriage, anything can work once it's healthy. Both of you can. But in an abusive man, someone always listen. There's no someone always is at an advantage. Someone always is an advantage. I will just call you, yeah, sign the check. I want to take some. I don't need to say please. I just sign it. And then someone is always. So to me, it's not even an issue.
Okay, thank you very much. That's well dealt with. But let's go further now. What are some of those signs that when you begin to see them, your brain should scream, it's time to go? In a relationship / marriage.
Red flags.
Yes, the red flags.
The red flags. In a cycle of abuse, the moment you see that your partner cannot handle external stressors, maybe a change of role at work or sudden traffic based on maybe road renovation or outside family conflicts, external family conflicts, certain crises are coming up. Maybe a child is ill and it looks like your partner cannot manage their emotions. That's a red flag. And then it escalates every single time. You can't talk to them about it because they just get frustrated. They are just always throwing a tantrum or a fit. It shows that such a person may have been triggered based on maybe a childhood, a similar experience from childhood, which they cannot handle. And if that continues, if there is no intervention in place, such a situation can escalate and lead to the incident of abuse. What happens after that shows maybe it's a one-off issue, which I doubt. One-off abuses, we know that doesn't really happen. It's always, cyclical. It will go through. Get to the part where there is a reconciliation, gifts, to apologize, or to blame you or blame somebody outside for the situation. I wouldn't have done that. Me was the other person. I wouldn't have done that within my situation, within my, and or they say, oh, you provoked me. You provoked me. I wouldn't have hit you, or I wouldn't have done that to you. So when you start saying that such a person cannot handle emotional stressors, such a person does not own up responsibility for whatever role they're in. So when there's something good or they've achieved something, they're quick, to own up and say, oh, I did that, I achieved that. But when it comes to they making a mistake or there being an issue that they contributed to, may not be the sole cause, but contributed towards a situation or a negative outcome, and they are not able to say, okay, I'm sorry, this was my role. But they're always quick to blame other people, and you've noticed that is a red flag. Another red flag in a relationship is The truth is, trust should come into a relationship, and boundaries. The person who cannot respect your boundaries is a red flag. They telling you it's because they love you. They wanting to know where you are per time. It's not love. That means there's no trust in that relationship. That means the person possibly is paranoid and doesn't want a situation where somebody else controls you or takes your time or takes your attention off them. So they feed on your attention, they feed on your confidence, they feed on, your care of them. They feed on everything positive. They can literally drain you of everything. When you see that you're always giving, or you are becoming careful not to hurt them, so you're going somewhere, you start seeing yourself, because it's very gradual. Sometimes you're not able to pinpoint that, okay, a line has been crossed here. But then you're thinking this person loves me, so you're at home, you want to quickly step out to buy something in the shopping mall next to the house, and you're sending a message because in your mind you're thinking, if I go there now and I already sent him a message, I'm at home, and he sees me there buying something, or he sees somebody passing by, or a man or a woman greeting me, and then says that I was lying. The moment you start seeing yourself having some thoughts that are alien to you, that are external to you, then you know that there's something amiss in this relationship. A relationship where you cannot truly be yourself, be independent, be trusted to make the right decisions, where you're being, followed, where you're being, you're being monitored, where you're being blamed for things, or where there is ghosting, or where there's love bombing, where you love me today, then tomorrow you're not showing me love. So I'm asking, what did I do? And then you tell me that I did something that you didn't like, or I didn't call you, or you didn't call me. And okay, this is outrageous. There's something there. There's a red flag there.
Okay. Now, I'm definitely coming to you, Barrister Olumide, but I'll quickly take this break. And when we come back, we'll start with your thought on these flags. Then I also want to take you further as a barrister. Now, how do we strike this? I don't know how to frame it, but then we seem to be having a very high increase, or an increase in divorce rates.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks like maybe the threshold for people to work out things in their relationship to make it work, because you would hear conversations of, oh, back then our parents did everything to make it work, but these days people don't want to take anything again. So imagine that side by side with what are the things that you should see and just take off. I want a balance to that, so we'll just take this break, let the thoughts simmer, and when we come back, we open with that. You're listening to Soul Sisters here on Smooth 98.1, and we are talking about how to leave abusive relationships.
Okay, actor,
Writer.
and you're listening to Smooth 98.1.
So,
keep listening.
Because, I mean, he said,
Oh my goodness! And I thought I broke it down. And I actually
it's her calmness for me. How she's just saying it. They use words, so
they use grammar. We are using words.
Oh, that is hilarious.
Don't say
Like,
this
what's that?
There's no food or drink.
Yeah, inside here. Okay. Yeah, inside here because of equipment. Yeah. Oh, grandma.
That is so hilarious.
Right.
I just going through my WhatsApp that
Oh my goodness.
Oh my
word.
Hold on. When I'm enjoying better discounts at select stores with my Keystone Pink card, I'm attending lifestyle events, networking, and raising my game. All thanks to my Pink account. So you see, my dear, last, the only thing serving me right now is the Keystone Pink account. Oh, and there's more. Enjoy a 2% discount on business loans, free capacity building and mentoring, and access to Pink network platforms when you open a Pink account. Visit the Keystone branch nearest to you or call 700 2000 3000 to get started. Keystone Bank. We grow together.
Hi, this is Let It See, and you're on Nigeria's #1 station for soul, jazz, and funk. Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life.
Yes, you got us, and we're all about the soul, the jazz, the funk, the R&B, the world music. Name it, and you'll enjoy it here. Right now, we're talking about how to live abusive relationships because the show is called Soul Sisters. My guests are they've been dishing fact and wisdom and nuggets. First, I have a counselor and trauma therapist. Her name is Olabisi Usidame, and I also have the founder of Nurses Help Initiative. He's a barrister, and his name is Olumide Omoshebi. Before that break, we she was therapist Olabisi was breaking it down, some of the flags that you can, yeah, she was speaking a lot of grammar. Some of those things that you see and you just know it's time to Ben Johnson. And I said when we come back, I'll take Barrister Olumide's thoughts on first the flags that you see, especially as you have worked with a lot of these victims, the patterns that you've seen. And secondly, how do we put that side by side with not even wanting to put in effort to make your relationship or your marriage work?
Okay. Well, for me, there are 7 character traits that are red flags. I would tell you anytime. The first are hot-tempered people. The shortest cut to domestic violence and abuse is being with a hot-tempered person. By hot temper, I mean someone who cannot control their passion. When they're angry, you can't, they have no restraint. They bear fully their anger. Some hit at property, some kick the wall, some are abusive. The moment you see that, it's just, there's no need to negotiate with being a hot-tempered person. The second are jealous people. The word jealous is from the Latin word gelos, which means possessive and suspicious. Now you have people that take you as property. There was a time I was on air and a man said, I paid her bride price. She's my own, she would do what I say. Jealous people think jealousy is a sign of love. It is actually a symptom of insecurity.
Yeah.
The moment you can't see somebody, you have to check in on the person. Where are you? Video call. Oh yeah, let me see where you are around. Who is that? Who is this? You go out, you talk to somebody. I was calling you, you didn't pick up. Jealousy is something. When you go to the book of Songs of Solomon, it says, "Wrath is cruel, anger is a flood, but who can stand before jealousy?" Before, jealousy and envy had separate meanings, but contemporary English has made jealousy also the same as envy. In every book, you would see flee jealousy, flee envy. There is no jealousy is the passion of man, and that is where you have the term crimes of passion. It's usually crimes of jealousy. A jealous lover kills out of suspicion. Over here, was it last year during what's this Lovers Day, Friday, Valentine's Day? We had 19 murders that week last year because of jealousy. When you look at statistics, you will find out that most murders were committed by intimate partners, a family member, someone who knew you. So you are more likely to be killed by someone who knows you or who has had a relationship with you than any other person. Jealousy is something you don't negotiate with. The third is a stingy person. Stingy means unwillingness to give. You have to have. Now, if I don't have, I can't give what I don't have. But I have, and I will not give. They always the first thing is, I don't have, or I don't. You are dating someone who will come to visit you, not even buy bread, not even, they always don't have. A stingy person can go hungry so that you don't ask him for food.
Wow.
They are so unwilling to give. Now, stingy people, they cohabit with you. They don't love. They cannot love. Because I cannot claim to love you and have what you need, but I wouldn't give. The Bible says, for God so loved the world that he gave. You must, giving is, you can't be with stingy people. You will inherit debt. They would not, school fees of the children, 100,000, I have 40,000. They never have. So you end up working extra hard to always cover the balance. We don't really have time. A stingy person, you would not. They say when you want to know a stingy man, look at his wife. When you want to know a stingy woman, look at her children. They are not. They don't even dress well. They never celebrate anything. It's a waste of money. You can't buy anything that they can't even buy stuff for themselves.
How much more for
So
mental health?
if I don't love myself, how can I love you? So hot-tempered, jealous, stingy, then the malicious people. Now I always say, be careful of those people that don't forgive easily. They remember. They remember what you have to apologize. They would block you. They would not respond to your text, not pick your calls. You would apologize. Over a week, are you still angry? Be careful of those that don't forgive easily. Deep people. And even after they have forgiven, when you do anything wrong in future, they will still refer to that. That was how you did it, last year. I even have someone who will give you the weather report. It was raining that day that Then the other side to malice is legally, when you say it was an act of malice, that means it was intentional. There are some people that malice comes out of envy at times. For example, you marry someone who your income becomes contention. You can't do better than they. You can't earn more than they. Next thing they tell you to stop working because anything you do, is it because you are earning? A lady once came to us. She was promoted in her office and given an official car. She ran home. She was like, I was promoted. The husband was like, why is it always you they are promoting in that office?
You must be doing something.
You and that your boss. Don't come and park any official. She said she couldn't park the official car here. So some people, your progress is a problem. Look at what got Joseph into problems. He had a dream and he dared to say his dream. His brothers gathered against him. What got Cain to kill Abel? Because he offered a better sacrifice. There are some people that you're good. You can't.
Your added advantage.
You
is a
cannot.
problem.
It slights them. It is a problem. So you need to understand and be with. When you see someone who cannot celebrate your progress, that is always reserved about it, that is a red flag. Then the liar. Those, you can't be with someone who lies. There's a pathological liar, there's a manipulative liar. A pathological liar, a pathological liar lies for no, they were not in trouble.
But
that you need to say,
it just
they
comes
just
natural.
lie, it comes naturally. They just lie.
Wow.
Then the manipulative liar lies to get what they want from you. For example, I'm here now and I'm like, I just need to get 3,000 from Madam here. I'll just be like, when I was coming, my car just climbed one time. They just create a story around something else. And that is how a lot of people create a scenario to get you into a relationship with them. So you need to, there is no, they lie. Everybody lies. You understand? I always, maybe you say, where am I now? I would give myself maybe 10 kilometers. Maybe I'm still in Sabo. I would say, I'm on Third Milan Bridge. Those are, but for you to be called a liar, that means your lie surpasses the threshold of normal, everyday, that means you take it a step. When you see that this person lies, you need to, a lady got married to a gentleman, an engineer, 5 years in the marriage before she realized that the engineer did not even go to the university. And she was a double master's degree holder. You understand? He was called an engineer because he sells building materials.
Building engineers,
well, it's what they call them.
So when he says engineer, and he would be talking, he's a graduate until, then I always talk about the jobless. That is number 6. For a man, it always affects the man where all you see is beauty. You marry, you just see somebody and you say, I've seen my wife, just because of it. And the person has no advantage. Unemployment, the person is unemployed. 2 heads are better than one, definitely. And they say, for when one falls, the other would raise. But woe unto he who is alone. Now that alone is not woe unto him who stands alone, but woe unto he who is alone in responsibility. Because when you fall, nobody to carry you. Now you marry someone who all they have to give you is their body. There is no finances, there are no ideas. You are just with someone because you love her.
Or love how she looks.
Or it's always the looks. Then the guy is handsome or probably sexually proactive, and you marry for that. Now there is a problem. The looks just fade away. First pregnancy, it's gone. 8 is now 9. Before you know, the looks just goes. But when you are alone, you see, when I tell people you can't marry a jobless person, they say they have prospects. I'm into it. Let us see the prospects. Unemployment is not rewarded by marriage. Unemployment is cause to get a job. But then you have the unemployable. That means they have neither the skill, talent, or qualification to get a job. There's unemployed, where you have the skill, you have the talent, but you don't have a job and you're looking for. But then there's the unemployable. That is, they have nothing, no qualification to get a job. Some, it is their character that makes them unemployable. Last year, we have someone who lost 3 jobs in 2 months because of attitude. And that is the apple of another's eye. The problem is that you will carry the burden of, and it is always, do you know how difficult it is right now? For someone, you will pay the rent, then you're there to have children, you pay the school fees, then you would clothe them, you would do everything, and then for yourself with no help, except you're from a rich family or you have something somewhere. Then the last are proud people. Those that have the exceedingly high opinion about themselves. The problem with proud people is that they are never wrong. So they never apologize because they are always right, even after they've been told they are wrong. Narcissism is the full expression of pride. So the issue you talk about, narcissists, they are proud people. That is the full expression of pride. So these 7 traits, I tell that it never ends well. The hot-tempered, the jealous, the stingy, the malicious, the liar, the jobless, and the proud. Once you see this, please, excuse me, sir.
Once you see this, but do people see this?
Yes, they do.
So why do they choose to ignore this?
So that's the thing.
Okay, before we jump into that,
Let me-
we need to go on this break because it beats me. All these things you mentioned, we see them. That's the truth. But we still have people who are in relationship, who are married to people like this. And it just doesn't make sense. You're listening to Soul Sisters here on Smooth 98.1. We're talking how to leave abusive relationships. You can join us on YouTube, by the way. And when we come back, we can begin to take your thoughts, your comments, whatever it is that you want to say to be a part of the show. You can call the number 01-448-9981 or send your WhatsApp message to 009-444-0981. Because
So you know how it's easy, right? It's very easy for us to be here to talk about abusive relationships, yeah? And not even remember to talk about the abused.
Babe, could you renew my
So we
Intel
forget
data
that there is a
subscription?
personality
Of course, darling. Anything for you.
to an abused person.
All you see is me sobbing for pain. But
There are flaws, just as there are flaws in an
What I see
abuser.
is
There are flaws in the abused.
the important things in
And there are
life
certain
powered by
things they
data.
do not know how to
Dial
handle.
*141#
There are
to
certain
choose any
things that
data
cause
plan that works for you.
paralysis. They don't know what to do
The
next.
smartphone network.
You know,
Odiche is a fractured
we've
soul
talked
who
about
has been sentenced to a
red
fate
flags.
she cannot escape
But we
from.
haven't spoken
Watch her
about
battle against murder,
their
deception,
tactics
and herself
and the strategy
in
in
a
place.
mind-blowing tale of good versus evil.
So, imagine somebody who
Get
handles the
ready
finances,
for the new
right?
psychological drama series.
But we've not spoken
Odiche,
about the fact that for every
coming
human, yeah,
29th September,
there are 3
only on
dimensions to
Showmax.
us. There's the
Sign up
physical
at
dimension,
showmax.com.
you know, there's the spiritual dimension, and there's the mental dimension.
You're
The
tuned
mental
in
is the
to
emotional
Quiet
and your
Storms.
mental capacity. And when somebody has been able to control that part of you, because in the first place it wasn't even standing strong, there's a challenge. If you're someone who who gathers emotional strength and stability from friends and support systems. That has been taken away in an abusive relationship. In a way, you've been isolated.
98.1. Mondays to
So you think you're handling some of these things by
There are
themselves.
types of abuse,
Yeah.
there's the
Smooth
emotional-
98.1.
Yes.
Love music,
Yes.
love life. Yes, we're having quite a conversation behind the scenes. That's why you need to be a part of the YouTube stream. YouTube.com/smooth 981 FM Lagos is what you're searching for. That's the YouTube channel. We are fast drawing to the end of this conversation, and it's as if there is not enough time again. My guest is Abusive Sidama. She's a trauma therapist and counselor, and also have Barrister Olumide Omoshebi, who is the founder of Nurses Help Initiative. Before we went on that break, I said I was going to ask, now that you have mentioned all these red flags, and you started by telling us some of the tactics that the abuser uses on the abuse, such that maybe it makes it difficult for them to identify these flags.
Absolutely.
Okay.
A wholesome person is someone who is whole in terms of their physical dimension, their emotional, mental parts, and then their spiritual, dimension. A person who is strong emotionally or mentally is someone who grew up, maybe in a healthy environment where they were able to learn to express themselves, learn to self-regulate and manage their emotions. They've been able to learn to place boundaries. When they notice someone is invading their space, they are quick to, hey, you need to back off a bit. I have my needs, you have your needs. We need to respect each other. I mean, yes, we're going out, we're dating, but hello, there's still supposed to be a line. The truth is, abusers will never go for people who are confident. And when I mean confident, I don't mean false confidence, because a lot of us portray false confidence because we want to look the part. But I'm talking about people that, they understand boundary, they place boundary, they maintain boundary. And so that such a person is quick to say things, show their paranoia, tell them that they own you. And then
you ask you a question,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
When you say boundaries now, to you, to them, what is boundary?
All right, so let me break it down, like you say. So thank you very much. Now, this is what I mean. You know how you're going on a date with your boyfriend, and as you're getting dressed and you're about to go out, and he says, and you say, oh, you're not even telling me how I look. I mean, no, women always like that affirmation. And he says, first of all, you look maybe like a whore, or you look like you're thirsty. You don't look, are you trying to get the attention of the other men there, or are you following me? You're not showing that you're an extension of me. You can see how I look. I'm dressed very responsible. Why are you looking this way? That's one example. That's somebody who is trying to let you know. But in that way, the person has thrown a gbasgbos, let me put it that way, has emotionally incapacitated you. You understand? And also put you in a place where you're feeling very, your confidence has been shattered. Yes. And so you have those different gbasgbos coming into the relationship at different times. You can go out to eat and you're both eating, having a very nice dinner. In your mind, you're having nice dinner and he just says, why are you chewing like like have some class? All those little bit of here and there. So that's why at the beginning I said something like, you don't know when the line is drawn. So you start you become a bit more conscious of your self-image, because you keep thinking, okay, I'm not behaving myself, or I'm at fault, I'm to blame. So there are always that little here and there.
Okay.
Let
me allow, but it's as if you wanted to say something.
Quickly. Examples were like, okay, when people say, okay, I think the problem we have is that people are not taught on how to date. The first step in dating, someone asked one of these old philosophers, said, what is the secret to life? And by name Socrates said, the secret to life is this: man, know thyself. The first thing is you need to know, the first step is knowing who you are. If you are emotional, then you know that you cannot be with someone who speaks flagrantly, because you will be hurt. If you are hot-tempered, then you cannot be with another hot-tempered person who, because two goats would always. You need to know how you are. For when I was with my wife, when we were agreeing, I said, "What are your deal breakers?" She said, "Don't hit me. If you hit me, I will kill you and I will go to the police. I will go to jail. That no man can hit her again." And I said, "Me, don't shout at me. That's my deal breaker. The moment you start shouting, raising, I'm gone. I can't, you've lost me." So I know who I am. Boundaries now are those things you do to protect who you are. For example, the boundary of everyone should be abused. The moment someone tells you are stupid, I think that is just it. I mean, thank you very much, and that is. But here we like to shalaye. Well, the reason I said, there was traffic, and I was already agitated, and people will now tell you, maybe it's only one time he has said it, will go back. The issue here is that we are not taught by the very institutions that should teach us, that is, at home, churches, schools, on what to look out for. What are those traits to avoid?
But there are a lot of things to look out for.
Okay.
And you cannot cover everything. Yes, a level of self-awareness works. You said something about somebody who is very hot-tempered should not go out with another hot-tempered person. And then we're coming back to where we are. If a hot-tempered person constantly goes out with someone who is even-tempered, if the evil-tempered person is not, as
Exactly.
then the abuse starts. And so we're still, that is still going on. So the issue here is knowing yourself, respecting your boundaries, and ensuring that you also communicate your boundaries to people. Which means on the first date, if a guy tells me he doesn't like what I'm dressed, I'm like, "Oh, thank you for sharing that opinion he's taking." But when you're not to insult me or start saying things like, "No, no, 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 hold on there. You already said you're not comfortable with this. This is me. I own my body." You understand? So let's draw that line. I'm not an extension of you. That's why you let the person know I'm not an don't. Yes, we're going now doesn't mean that people are going to say so. That's where insecurity comes in. When you're like, don't dress like this, so they won't know that we are together. Or they would look at you like they will look at me. You see where the insecurity. So insecurity on one person's part, and the other person not even being able to own up and say, "This is who I am through and through." Being self-aware, but also, having the ability to be assertive.
All right.
When you're having somebody whose communication style is being aggressive, always aggressive, and the other person is passive and just gives in, or the person is passive aggressive, there will be problems. So there's a lot of issues going on, but the truth remains that for an abusive relationship not to occur or for it to be managed, each person should deal with their weaknesses, and all of that. If you come into a relationship broken, the relationship has failed from the start. That's just the truth. So you can't name it all. You can't see all the red flags.
Yeah.
The truth is, even normal regular people like you and I we do some things based on where we're coming from, which is not exactly a red flag per se, but it's how we grew up, it's how we do things. And so when somebody tells you, your partner says, "Oh, you shouldn't have said that, this is what it meant, this is how it makes me feel," at that point is where you say, "Oh, I apologize." You draw your line. I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry for crossing that line." So that's why healthy relationships have red flags. Healthy relationships have issues. But when we're able to communicate, respect each other, trust each other, and individually work through our own challenges, then we create a wholesome relationship. Everybody's coming from a different background.
Thank you so much. Now, in very few words for both of you, I need you to say how a person who has been battered. Now, you are saying this for people who still have their everything still intact somehow. Those who have been battered in abusive relationships, how can they leave? Very few words.
The first thing they need to do is to reach out to someone. Reach out to someone, because at that point in time, they probably don't have the financial stability. They don't know how to live. But they need to understand that there's somebody out there that cares for them. That's by themselves. They need to consciously build up their support system that has been broken. The isolation has taken place. So build up. Oh yes.
Who is there for them? It sounds like commercial.
No one is an island. That's the truth. No one of us.
When you have been, but when you come into a relationship
from
family and friends,
so you begin. That's what I mean by the first step you do is to begin to reach out to people. You reach out to the person close, one person that can come to mind. If one person, just reach out to the person. This is what I'm going through. if I'm going through so much and I'm broken and battered, the first person I will call will not be an advocates group. You understand? I'll just remember one of my old friends that I haven't been in touch with. Connect. From connecting, you are able to boost that internal, that your mental. Battered person is not just battered physically. A battered person is probably, yes, and it's probably suicidal and just think, I'm alone in this world, nobody even cares about me, I am a nobody, I've seen this happen time and time again. That person just needs, that first thing is that connection. The connection builds a bit of mental strength. Then that's when you start thinking of, okay, maybe gathering documents. If you have maybe joint accounts, you're sharing certain things, all of those legal, parts, and also, gathering maybe your children's stuff and all that, and money and all that. But first of all, you need to connect with someone who can help you at that first instance.
Barrister Olumide, 30 seconds.
I know we'll probably have a different perspective.
Oh, well, I think that you should leave. I mentioned that between January and March, we buried 64 women lost to domestic violence and abuse. I don't think that you actually have time. I've been with someone who was to come for another, meet with me, and in just 7 days, the person was gone. So you leave. There is no, I believe, just leave.
Run.
Pack your bags, your children, if they're infants, and leave.
All right.
Then we'll start talking about the others after you have left.
So where do you leave to?
So you came from somewhere.
So that's why you need to connect first. Connect with one person. Then the sense of, okay, now there's somebody, so I know someone. You have a knowing that there's someone with you in your mind. You leave. You and I can stay here for thousands of years to say leave. But we know. That's why you have this report.
I mean, time. We're totally out of time.
So,
they will not leave.
Thank you.
That's the truth.
Right now, we need to leave. Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation. I saw the messages, I just couldn't take them because there is no time. But thank you, and thank you so much. One thing is certain, at one point or the other, I'll have them back again because there are a lot of issues that need to be touched on. But thank you for being there. Thank you for sending your messages. Thank you for all that you do here. We appreciate you. My guest has been Olabisi Usidame. You can find her on Instagram at olabisi.usidame. And you can find Barrister Olumide at Gnosis_help initiative, I believe.
_help. Just
Okay,
help.
Gnosis, that's GNOSIS_help. This is Soul Sisters, and on the other side, you will definitely be listening to more soul music.
My name is Johnny Joe, and for the best of soul, R&B, jazz,
I
and a bit of
overstretched
folk,
this time. I'm in
keep it
trouble.
tuned in to Smooth
You overstretched.
98.1.
I even thought you would give us more time.
I can't. I need to broadcast this message. How do I get this? And the speakers, how to reach them, please. Okay, so let's just drop the number here.
We should do an Insta live.